Hello, my name is Simon Wilkinson, founder of Digital Arc, a Colchester-based web design and web hosting business. We help clients to achieve their objectives, offering professional service at sensible pricing. Now, the background to these lessons, if you haven't seen lesson 1 or lesson 2, is that there's a number of people there who are absolute beginners when it comes to web design or wanting to get a website online. So we're running a course of about 14 lessons which explain all the steps in very simple terms, only explaining what you need to know to help you get your website online. Here is the list of the 14 lessons we plan to cover, and as you can see looking down them, by the end of it, you not only will you have chosen and purchased a domain name and got some web hosting in place, you also will have designed your first basic website. So, lesson 3, how to choose a domain name. In this lesson, what you will learn is the different types of domain and 5 simple rules to help you choose the right domain. As you've probably noticed, that all domain names finish with some form of suffix: .com, .net, .org, .biz, .co.uk. .co.uk is obviously very popular in the United Kingdom. So this can be very confusing when it comes to choosing your domain name. What one do you choose? Well, probably the best way about thinking about this is, where are you based, or where do you expect that your website will do business or your organisation needs to have a presence? .com seems now to be generally accepted for the US or internationally. So if you've got a business what you think will be global, .com could be the answer. .org is recognised as non-profit organisations or individuals who do non-profit type work. In the UK, .co.uk has become very popular as opposed to the .uk domain. This is used by businesses and individuals, and in fact it's also being used by non-profit organisations where perhaps they can't get the .org domain they want. And finally, there is a .org.uk which is used predominantly in the UK for non-profit organisations. Now, ideally you want to choose the domain name suffix that reflects your need, i.e. choose .co.uk if you are focused or based in the UK. If you think you're going to expand internationally, you may want to consider the .com option, or if you want, you can actually register both of them, and it's possible to design one website and have the .com one point towards your .co.uk website. But when choosing, remember, .com and .org are more expensive generally. You'll probably find that to register those domain names costs around £15 or maybe more for the year, whereas it probably costs about the same to register a .co.uk or .org.uk, and they get renewed every 2 years, so that's about half the price. So, the 5 rules. I've split these into the following 5 to think about: business name, brand name, your location, keeping it short, that's your domain name, think how it sounds when spoken, that's quite an important one, and obviously beware of copyright. You don't want anybody knocking on your door saying you've infringed their brand, business name or something similar. So rule 1, business name. In many cases it will make sense for you to use your business name for your domain, but what you might want to think about is if you have a particular product or there's a particular market you're focusing on, you may actually want to choose that instead. The reason for that is it's been found that when people type in searches, they don't always type in a business name or the name of the company or organisation. They're actually then searching for something more generic. So just something to think about. If you have a product which people will be searching for that product, that might be a good choice for your domain name. When you do look to choose, you may want to choose something which is more generic. For instance, you go and type in www.bank.co.uk and see what comes back as a result. But when choosing stuff, always beware that you're not going to be infringing a copyright and you're going to have somebody coming after you like Nike, Microsoft or anybody else. Rule 2, location. And I don't mean location in the sense where we talked about the suffix, the .com or the .co.uk. The question you need to ask yourself here is, are the people who are going to be looking for your website, are they expecting to find you locally, or do you only want to do business locally? Great example is one of our clients. They have moved into specialising in green roofs for buildings, for both business and domestic buildings. But they only want to concentrate on Colchester and the surrounding areas. So in that case, instead of them trying to have a domain name, which is www.greenroof.co.uk, which could have been anywhere in the United Kingdom or even further afield, what we did there is we chose a domain name which was www.greenroofcolchester.co.uk, because straight away people know that's a local business if they're searching for something local, and also it stops them getting inquiries from people based in Glasgow in Scotland. Rule 3, keep them short. And the reason you want to do this is they've got to be something what's easy for people to remember. So if they hear it, perhaps on the radio, or you say it to them, go and check my website, it's something which they need to be able to remember quickly and be able to type in. And also, if it is too long, it becomes very complicated and very laborious to type it in, so people will not want to do that. Obviously, as part of your domain, comes back to the first and second point. Try and make it relevant to what your business, organisation, or your website is about. Right, rule 4. How does it sound? This is an interesting one. What you should always consider is, how will your domain name sound, or your website address sound, when spoken out loud on the telephone, on a radio, in a conversation? Would it be easy to get wrong? So here you probably want to avoid hyphens, because you don't want to be saying something www.fred-jones-colchester.co.uk. That's a real mouthful, very difficult to remember. Also consider not using words that have multiple spellings, because there's a good chance that if there is, that people will misspell it and they won't be able to find your website by typing it into the internet browser. Finally, rule 5, copyright. Do not use business, brand names or organisation names that are subject to copyright, because what will happen is it will get picked up by somebody and you will be asked to stop using that. Now, if you've then built up a large following and people know and have bookmarked your website and it's getting good traffic, that's going to be really painful if somebody says you cannot use that anymore and you have to start again. And also, don't use domains that make false claims. Again, it's the same. People get upset about that if they find that out, and they will come and ask you to stop. So, in summary, use .com, .org, .co.uk or .org.uk if available. If these aren't available, you can then start looking outside of this, perhaps with the .biz ones or .net ones. But remember, they are for specialised, or supposed to be used for specialised businesses or purposes. Think about your location. Do you want to add a location into your domain name? Right, decide if business or brand product will work best. Decide if you want to focus on the location locally. Keep them short, easy to remember. Think about how they'll sound when spoken out loud. Will there cause any confusion? And don't break copyright. If you follow this, it puts you in a good path for choosing a good domain name. I'm aiming to publish lesson 4, which will actually go through the process of buying your domain name online in the next lesson, and I hope to have that in the next week or so. Thank you for listening.